And the countdown is almost here. It's about 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Just couldn't help myself kick on a couple seconds extra here. Good evening to each and every one of the loyal subscribers to the message. I'm so glad to be back with you guys. This is the Independent Investor Channel live stream. My name is Ryan. For you guys that are new to the channel, I'm super devoted to this project and what it could potentially mean for anyone on the receiving end of this. Tonight's going to be kind of a special show. I'm going to wait a couple moments here and allow some of the gallery to make their way in. I've got some devoted subscribers in the house, some folks that have been with me an awful long time. Shout out to Christopher. It's great to see you, Chris, and I hope all is well with you, as well as I've got Mr. Weber's in the house. It's great to see you, Shaded Light. Eric, it's good to see you, my friend. And David Oldenburg, it's great to see you too, my friend. Greetings here from the East Coast. Shout out to the West Coast. Hope all is well with you guys. Matt says, win Lambo. I probably never have one, which is kind of funny. We're going to talk about the 5 elusive things that escape a lot of people out there. And I'm going to kind of circle back in retrospect and give you my insights. These are 5 attributes that are integral to my life. These are things I do. At least I feel like I do it, and I don't feel like I'm naive. I feel like it's critical that people have the ability to self-evaluate where they are. For those people out there that are, naive to the fact, or some of the people, out there have a hard time, perhaps, taking advice, I guess, from someone. Um, I'm not one of those folks that seek out advice. I do identify that there is a lot of people out there that do need help with managing money, maybe even just need help with something as simple as establishing some spending discipline. But I'm going to give you the goods tonight. It comes really down to these 5 categories. And if you can deploy these 5 categories, no matter how much you make per year, no matter where you come from, you're going to give yourself the best shot at making that all elusive millionaire. Now, I say that tongue in cheek because I think a lot of people will say that it would be nice to actually step into retirement, or I think the scuttlebutt now that I hear is that people want to retire so bad at 25 years old. I don't really think that that speaks to the masses, and I don't really think that that speaks to the reality of people who are actually um, uh, meeting those milestones in their life. And it's some of those people that you may be a little bit more surprised on. Those everyday hard workers that contribute to a 401k, and they forget about it. They go on about their lives. They've got good perspectives over their life. I'm not really sure if I would be so quick to suggest that those people who are making multi-millions are those people that are seeking out and venturing off and starting businesses, and some do. But that's not who my channel's aimed at. My channel's aimed at those people out there that potentially feel like they have very little to no hope, but are good people, and they may have some of the attributes that I'm going to talk about this evening. And the reason why I focus on that is because that's who I am. I'm not one of those people who come from money. I'm not one of those people who were given any type of a head start in life. Completely the opposite. For you guys that have been with me for quite some time, I share my run in with the IRS not once, but twice with regard to back taxes owed. And you might think, okay, well, that's interesting. I mean, I've never been so stupid to get into trouble with the IRS. Wasn't like I got into trouble. It was just that I misallocated some self-employment income, and I was 19 years old. I spent that money, and it was about 10 grand, and I thought I was rich. And the tax man came around and was like, "Hey, where's my 2,200 bucks? We want it." And it was a rude awakening, I guess. Well worth the $2,200 that I would have eventually paid in back taxes to learn the lesson of how important it is to acknowledge the potential impacts from tax and the importance for most people to acknowledge tax and potentially establish or set up the framework in their financial portfolio, their individual financial plan, to acknowledge tax and potentially reduce or even in some cases eliminate the tax. So these lessons come from very deeply rooted places in my life, and I love sharing that with you guys. Hopefully, you're able to get a little bit more of a unique perspective from me. I'm not an entertainer. I'm not coming on to sell you on anything. Okay. My work on the independent investor channel that I do now, that I actually do get paid for, and I get paid really, really well, actually satisfies the amount of time that I spend doing YouTube. And I love doing it. We just got to interview Stock Therapy with Penny Queen this week. It was an interview that I caught about a month ago with Mariusz Konitsky. He's a friend of mine through the channel. Caught that interview, and she is predominantly, if not exclusively, a penny stock investor. And I've been vocal about this through the course of my channel, and I've had many, many patrons that have come into the channel that were also penny stock investors. And it was one of those elements of investing that I always cautioned investors to not put undue credence in that perspective. In other words, if you're an investor out there and you don't know anything about it, you could probably get away with avoiding that altogether. I've been there. I've lost money. I've made money. I've made significantly more money than I've lost. But the tried and true old onus about just investing in the market over time and establishing a nice, well laid plan for yourself uh, really will get it done for you, and it will allow you the ability to or the opportunity not to outthink this opportunity in stock market investing. I think that's super important. I think discipline and perspective are way more important than picking the right stock. There's no doubt about that. But those opportunities are made available to me. I'm currently involved in a campaign and a stock that I'm very, very excited about, and that's Aduro Clean Technologies. The interview today with the CEO, Ofer Vicus, and as well as he's one of the head engineers with the company, but I need to do some research on who it was. Caught that this evening, but that's the only content that I actually enjoy watching anymore. I don't watch YouTube. I'll watch my playback because it's good content. And for the people who want to catch the content, good on you. My only ask or my only hope of you is that you get some value from it. Maybe you pick up a little tidbit here and there. Maybe tonight you heard me out and you're like, well, I've never got into debt with the IRS, and maybe you heard me out there, and maybe we differ in that regard. Maybe it's something that you could avoid, or something maybe strikes a nerve with you that I say that can maybe help you establish a little bit more discipline for yourself. I think the key that I'm trying to drive home for people is to really separate people from what they think about money and what they're predestined to earn with deploying those strategies, which are status quo. You know, the neighbor told you about it, or your friend told you about it, or your family told you about it. Because if those methods worked, guys, there would be significantly more self-made millionaires in this country. And the sheer fact of the matter is very, very few people will meet that end. Very few people will establish the proper pedigree or the proper recipe to step into wealth. Now, I'm not a millionaire. I'm a no well over halfway there. I've established wealth at 500,000, and I don't I don't really look at it that I don't know what that would look like if I just put it in front of me and stacked it up. I have no idea what it would look like. It's a number to me right now. And it speaks to my conviction on how important it is to separate from your money. to establish those buckets and value that program significantly more than just a pile of paper, and or the power of what that paper can do. I mean, 80 to 100 grand, I could go buy a nice, M5 BMW if that's what I wanted to do. Most people aspire to that type of thing. Most people are ill prepared, I think, to take on money. And I think they're so consumed with the inability to break away from specific spending habits that unfortunately they spend most of their life spending. And, and the further you can get away from those predispositions of consumption, those predispositions to unhealthy habits, really is what it comes down to. And a lot of people go through whatever internalization they need. Maybe it's validation from the next door neighbor, maybe it's family coming over during holidays and commenting on how awesome your house looks because you have a Christmas decoration crammed into every corner of your house, and every square inch of the walls in your house are covered with Christmas decorations. I like the festivities too, Clark. It's all good. But, you know, whatever floats your boat, I think that's somewhat of a telltale sign of somebody who just can't control their spending, and it's worth it to them to take those dollars and seek that few seconds of euphoria that you get in your mind by engaging in those spending disciplines, and the couple seconds wear off and you're off to the next thing. What can I look at? What can I look at next to buy or spend or spend my money on, whether or not I need it or not? And that's what makes me happy. And I think it is a habitual problem in today's society. And I believe that it also is very, very difficult for people in this country to break away from. I think with the number of influences that are coming from all different angles, the press to become, something that everybody else thinks you need to be overnight, instead of just taking a step back and saying, hell, I don't know, is this something I really need? You know, I'm going to give you the five tidbits here that have helped me. And for you guys that think that somehow within the next 10 years, I'm not going to turn over that millionaire mark, you're sorely mistaken. And I'll be calm, cool, and collected about it. I'm not going to come on and say, hey, it was luck, because it wasn't. An absolute adherence to discipline. And these are absolutely the times that I see the discipline through. I uh, often reflect on the incapability for people to see the benefit of investing as opposed to not investing. And you need to ask yourself, do you believe that your life would be better off not investing? And you may come back and say, hey, look, no, I'm a saver. I'm a frugal spender, right? All attributes of becoming a millionaire that I'm going to speak of tonight. But do you feel like you can do it without investing, putting your capital to risk with the idea that the capital eventually can render dollars without you taking any more type of an infusion over those dollars, and the idea that those dollars can work for you while you're off doing what it is that you're doing with your time? hmm hmm And that philosophy is very, very powerful, and you don't get to truly understand that until you get paid your first dividend. This is why I openly share the M1 Finance dividend portfolio, and thank you for those that have reached out to me. I've sent that over to them, and hopefully they're enjoying that. But I tell you what, the little shot of dopamine that I get over 3 seconds is that I wake up in the morning. I had 9 dividends just this morning, that rendered me $18. I mean, I could pull it up here and tell you I might have erased it, but maybe not. Yeah, I did. I typically do. I get it in my email most mornings actually, and it was around 18 bucks. Little shot of dopamine there, nothing too crazy, nothing to shake a stick at, but in a 100 stock portfolio that pays me on an average 4 times per year per stock, that's 400 shots of dopamine. Now, for you spenders out there that want to compare your regimen to mine, you might think, good grief, this guy's an absolute insano. Um, Fair enough. Fair enough. All is fair in love and war. You're welcome to criticize, but this is my way, and it is independent, and it is in the minority in thought in what is more socially acceptable to own a nice, sweet portfolio of dividend payers. Now that portfolio is approaching 40,000, so nothing crazy, but it just goes to speak on the fortification of the discipline that I look to share. I look at it and it makes me happy. I put that plan in motion, and why shouldn't it? I think a lot of people that actually succumb to poor spending habits, unfortunately, over time, actually degrade in their satisfaction of purchasing and purchasing and purchasing over and over again to fulfill kind of an empty need or desire to spend and get that satisfaction out of getting a specific product or the newest iPhone or whatever that is. Okay, me, my dividends are always increasing. In other words, I know that when that dividend goes in there, it pays, it goes in to reinvest in the portfolio. And that's very, very satisfying for me. And that's the takeaway for you guys, is to understand that I've taken the initiative to put those things in place to render those dividends for me. My channel's a lot different than most, okay? I don't believe in the ability. Maybe there was a time in the evolution of the independent investor channel where I actually did succumb to trying to give people what they wanted to hear. Hey, here's the three stock picks every month, or hey, here's the stock flavor of the day, or whatever it is. I'm not of the belief of that anymore. I'm just not. There are really good stocks out there, and they are not a big secret. If you want to know what a big, awesome company is to invest in, just look at your phone, for example. That'll give you some indication. I see Costco mentioned. Costco's been on an absolute tear. The last month, the market has really based up off of its lows of 29 and change. The S&P has been on a tear. The calls now for a recession at 6 to 18 months are rampant. I had one commentary on CNBC suggest today that the market will go into a recession based on the inverted yield curve that we're incurring right now, which it happens when the short-term rates are higher than the long-term rates. So the people who are holding long-term debt actually make less than the people who are holding short-term debt. I hold both in my bonds portfolio. That bonds portfolio that could is kicking some ass right now. And that's actually the one that paid me the dividends today. Go figure, right? But hey, you know what do I know? I've evolved in the channel, and I figure if I'm going to do some profiling on the channel, no problem. It feels right to me, and I'm going to do it. Because if I can come on and drone on about investing discipline and building portfolios and doing all the stuff that I know is absolutely right, and the people who have been with me have absolutely got the crystal clear understanding of where my heart is, um, then the channel would fall on deaf ears because people just don't want to come onto YouTube and hear that stuff. I'm of a sheer belief of that. I'm incapable of coming on and offering the proper recipe or the proper delivery so people can truly understand. I'm going to explain it my way. If you understand it my way through me sharing what it is that I do, wonderful, you'll succeed for it. If you feel like you don't resonate with me, no problem. There's a ton of other channels out there that are 100 times bigger than mine that you can go and you can fall in with the lemmings. You can fall in with the sheep who follow those channels like an absolute cult. And it's something that I don't understand. I don't do it myself. I'm way too busy. I parlay this 60 minutes every single Friday for you guys to come in and talk about something that I don't think works. I know it works. And the real testament to it actually working for people is the ability to take, hear, put into motion and actually deploy and render some of these things that I talk about to help you in the psychology of stock market investing and really start to resonate with this idea that it is so much better to save a dollar than to spend a dollar. Guys, I appreciate you making your way into the live stream. We'll be back with you in just a moment. Go ahead and throw an invite down there in the bottom of the stream. I just dropped it in the thread there. So if anybody wants to come on and, I don't know, make themselves famous, I guess they can do that. I'm I'm super in my element on my live stream by myself, but certainly if there's anybody that has just a burning desire to come on and thank me for my infinite wisdom sharing through YouTube. I would do what it is that I do without this project. And that's what makes me very, very unique. I know it makes me unique. I would do what I do without this project. hmm and the very fundamentals that I share on investing, anybody can deploy. There's only one independent investor channel. I get that. So if I'm going to come on and I'm going to pose like I'm some sort of successful investor because I'm a YouTube superstar, well, then that's not helping the people that are coming in and trying to consume the message. Now, does it? Right. And these five elements that I'm going to walk through have nothing to do with the independent investor channel. With that said, there is going to be a need at some point, and this is going to resonate with the group. Money doesn't grow on trees. Okay. So if you want to engage in activity that can generate fast cash, um, go ahead. The only way that I've ever known to generate cash is to seek employment. And this is coming from my late grandfather who told me, look, if you can put 40 years into the system, you'll be fine. You'll be taken care of. And a lot of the younger generation, they just don't want to hear that. I think it's too bad from my deep perspective. I think this new generation is in for a really tough go. I really do, because I think a lot of people buy into that philosophy that everybody's going to succeed and you can put minimum effort into life and I'm just going to succeed. And if I don't succeed, no problem. Somebody will bail me out or somebody will be there to help coddle me along. Or, hey, my mother and father were there just to coddle me along. That's going to continue into my young life. I think a lot of the younger generation are in for a rude awakening. I say that with all acknowledgement to this younger generation is brilliant. They are a lot of really, really smart people. But I tell you what, there's some attributes that are missing, and I see it all the time. The ability to really, really dig deep, the ability to really adhere to some discipline, the inability to not succumb to pressure and not to succumb to temptation to buy into what everybody would have you believe is a definition of success. I would really charge anybody out there, even the newer generation, to try to define what it is in life truly makes you happy. I was in the gym every single day this week again. If people are bored of me saying it, it brings me the most joy in my life amongst many, many other things. As I go through my weekly routine, I'm a proponent of routine. It's my personality trait as an introvert to adhere to routine, um, and and I love it. I love it. But the 17 years running here, I just heard word yesterday that my life changed, and it's one of those things to where when these life changes come for the better, um, they humble me. I'm still it's trying to allow it to sink in because it really has not. I've worked very hard for this milestone. It's a lot of the reason why I relocated, like I did 6 months ago. But it just came to fruition yesterday, and I'm super super stoked. Would have never happened had I not put that pressure, or made the decision when I was a young 26-year-old to put myself on this path that 17 years later paid off as of yesterday. And you think about that for a second. I mean, do the young people have that type of perseverance? Do they have that type of patience? And it's a guy that I don't really feel like I'm a guy with a lot of patience. I have to really tell myself, hey, everything's cool at this particular juncture. We're good. We're doing this. We're awesome, right? Um, and I think if I could wish that upon anybody, the sense of satisfaction that I got yesterday, guys, was priceless. Yeah, it was priceless. Lot of culmination of a lot of commitment that I have in my profession to stare down that milestone. At some point in my life, I was actually 100% certain that I would not be provided that opportunity. And through perseverance and really just overcoming obstacles, it happened. And as cliche as that happens, continue to march forward and I'll do all that stuff. I don't know if I really want to buy into even cliches for you guys. All I can say is it's a lifelong commitment on multiple fronts. Now I'm talking about my job in a box, okay? But I've been married the same amount of time, right? I feel the same way about that in a lot of different ways, but the commitment element is still there, right? Which speaks to some of those intangibles that I spend the majority of my time on. I do, and they're free. Those are things that pay me, right? So it's really that contrast of finding that perspective, and we're going to talk about it as I step through these 5 elements. You're really going to benefit. Victoria, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm humbled. I really am. I've worked really hard. I've watched people come and go, and I'm sure they've worked hard as well. But to monitor, competition make it and you don't, is one of those things to where you're like, man, is this really worth it? Is it going to pay off? And yeah, it sure did. And I appreciate seeing you this evening. Heck of a shout out to you. Very cool stuff. And Anna's in the house as well. Anna wanted to thank you for sending the M1 to my husband. Yeah, hey, and that's really cool. You know what's funny about that is I really can't appreciate until somebody comes on and says, "Hey, we catch the message," and that's awesome. The only thing I would ask, because I'm very, very, I'm very close to the vest with my time. So I'm hoping you guys get something out of it. I think I do deliver a very unique message. I know it to be, because this is more than a passion for me. I could talk personal finance um, indefinitely. I really could. And I can talk personal finance in such a way that if I think I can say something that doesn't come across as, hey, I do it this way, and I do it that way, and I do it this way, and I do it this way, which is the impression that I get from a lot of YouTube channels out there. I'm a lot more cyclical than that. I'm a lot more holistic when I'm trying to deliver the message and really think about those phases of my investing evolution, because I've been through all of the phases, all of them. Credit card debt, IRS, I had to hire an attorney on one of them to get me out of the IRS debt. Penny stock losses. My first penny stock loss, I thought it was the end of the world when I lost, 3 grand. It was the best lesson I ever learned, because I've since, 100x that or whatever it is. It's immaterial, right? The question is, was it worth taking the risk to have what it is that I have now? So it's that definite question: is it worth investing or not? Well, for me, it's an absolute I would have never been where I was without the complement of investing. And I hope that's something that really resonates with people when they're going through the deliberation of should I or shouldn't I. I think for everybody out there, the answer has to be an unequivocal absolutely. And for me, it's a I don't want to suggest that it's a race against time, but we are the lucky ones, my friends. We are the lucky ones. Um, I started the Independent Investor channel from a spark of passion for this topic. I feel like if I was delivering the message to 100 subscribers, which I've done, and 1,000 subscribers, which I've done, to 10,000, which I've done, and now 30,000. Where the channel goes, I have no idea. I've had a digression of subscribers on the channel, and I presume that that's probably because I do the profiling of the content. But for the few people that actually subject themselves to sit through a 30-minute interview with myself and stock therapy with Penny Queen, she's a mother, she's a self-made success story. Why is that not attractive to people? Is it because I'm receiving a few $100s of compensation? Guys, I pay taxes out of that money. I claim it. It's part of my business. I've earned the right to start that business, you know? But on the I2, the project means an awful lot to me. I know a lot of people potentially maybe turned off a little bit by the highly on profiling. I love the story and I love the Aduro coverage. And somebody came in last week and were like, yeah, you're pushing the stock. Couldn't be further from the truth. I'm invested in both of them. I could care less what you do. I could care less. But I absolutely enjoy sharing what it is that I do. I just upped the position this evening, right at 0.65. I had the limit order in. It would not go for 2,500 more shares. Had to up it to 0.6643, and it went through. Fun stories. They're real. I don't take the angle of buy, buy, buy. Sound familiar? I don't take the angle of you need to buy this for yourself at all cost. I would suggest that Aduro Clean Technologies potentially has the market cap and the pre-revenue phase that it's in now not to fit in the majority of portfolios. As a matter of fact, I would say very few portfolios out there, right? So why would I suggest it? I'm merely just sharing what it is that I'm doing. I truly did buy 2,500 more shares. About at the close of the market, about a half hour before the close, I'm up to 17,500 shares of the company. It's fun to share. Now, if the stock ends up not working out or it ends up going to zero, then I eat that, and you watch me eat it at my expense, right? So it's your entertainment value. But what if a Duro actually aligns with the conviction that I think it will? It might add a little bit more credence to my message and my philosophy and my perspective and approach to this gig. And it's inevitable. I hate to give you the goods like that, but it is inevitable. Okay. So if you want to stand by and you feel like if you guys tune in every single week, I'm waiting for that validation and credibility to make its way. My value investing is fine. I know that I'm going to kill it with that. I know the dividend growth portfolio is just a really fun way of investing. When I go into Costco and I know that I own a small ownership stake in the company, I think more retail investors need to experience that ownership rather than just always being pigeonholed into that retail consumer, you know, idiot category of just going in and blowing your paycheck at Walmart every week or every 2 weeks, and you're an idiot and you're not even eligible to invest in the stock market. I'm here to blow down all of those barriers. Those are the very people that need to invest, but they have to do it with the proper mindset. All right. Number one, on the 5 secrets that you'll need to make millionaire status guaranteed, Number one thing you're going to do is you're going to need to live frugal. You're going to need to stop spending crazy. Okay. Would say that over 17 years, myself, my wife, and my family, the spending has probably incrementally increased. Now, my income has far surpassed what it is that I could ever spend. We often joke between the two of us, wouldn't it be fun to just take our monthly paycheck and just see what it feels like to just blow it all? We probably feel guilty because we work on we our surplus is enormous, and we live off of pittance. I mean, we focus on groceries and gas. We focus on those sunken costs. We focus on the bills that we can't control. We focus on the insurance and a few streaming services that we take in for entertainment. Me being in my current profession provides me an immense amount of benefits, guys, and I'm not going to get into details. I don't do that, but anybody who knows me and knows that they can relate with what in the heck I'm talking about, it is insano, and it will be a small contributor to you know not having to spend money in certain capacities that I've been able to enjoy over the course of my young and middle adult life. It's been fantastic, but to establish credit discipline is super key, and I believe that it's something that anybody can do. I think that it's something that escapes a lot of people, unfortunately. I can't in my minds of minds understand why this escapes people. Why? I just don't get it. If you have a credit card and you have a rule to go and only buy gas and groceries on that card and then pay it off every month, that in essence, what I just said as a rule should be something that 100% of people can adhere to, but they can't. They can't. People do not have good spending and credit discipline. They just don't. The statistics show it. Now, if you're one of those people out there that are like, no, no, Ryan, I'm actually one of those people. I do have good spending discipline. You know, I hear you out. Maybe we will look at our budget, see where those places that we can actually cut back. I spent an hour last week. This is how cheap I am. Okay, on my American Express Platinum, which is the number one credit card you can possibly get, there's an entertainment credit. I get $20 a month for free. So I get Disney Plus and I get Hulu, which is also Disney Plus. I do pay for Netflix and Peacock for free. I get those services for free. What I didn't know, and I suspected or presumed for a while, is when I signed up for Verizon Fios, they offered me Disney Plus, which was only Disney Plus at the time, and the free trial expired and they started charging me $7.99. So I was paying $7.99 to Verizon, and I was paying for my Disney service, which was also getting supplemented to me. So I was getting this for free and I was getting this over here for $7.99, but I was in essence paying for the service twice. It spent me an hour going into my account details and knowing that I needed to press and hold that bill of $7.99 to have it pulled off of my Verizon bill and save $7.99 that I had been flushing down the toilet. That's how big of a cheap bastard I am, because it just bothers me. It freaking bothers me, and it should bother you if you're one of those people out there that have these little expenditures. Oh, I wanted to watch Hulu and I wanted to watch a certain show, and now that show is gone and I really don't watch it anymore, but that's all right. It's only a couple of bucks. It's only a couple of bucks here, only a couple of bucks here. Always continue to try to keep that portfolio of sunken cost and bills under control. It is one of the very secrets that escape a lot of people. I would suggest that there is even the majority of people out there that cannot adhere to rule number one. They fail the test. That's number one. I've already given you some of the insights that I have about how pathetically cheap I am. Okay. I just feel like I'm living my normal life. I'm in the gym every single day. I go to the gym for free. I don't pay for a gym membership. I go whip that ass at the gym every single morning. I wake up at 4:45. I look forward to it. It's free of charge. you know? Find ways of doing that. If you need to go beat feet, if you need to, if it hurts your knees and you need to go walk, create that idea for yourself about segmenting these little portions of life that, hey, they don't need to cost money to make you happy. All right. And that's one of those things for me. So yeah, that's rule number one. Very, very important. And I know if you're exercising your opportunity to become an independent investor, an independent thought, this is going to be one of those things that is going to require some action on your part. I do whatever I can to give you the zing and the zang and the zing and the zang on what I do and hoping that it sticks. But ultimately, these things, unfortunately, on my channel, unfortunately, because I think very, very few well look to deploy, um, but for those that do, you'll be stepping into a much, much better realm. Number two on the list. I'm going to give you five. Number two is to set goals, make a plan, and stick to the plan. Okay. Life is long, life is not short. Okay. Get rid of that cliche. Every second, whether it be that you live for 40 years or 60 years or 80 years or 100 years, it's all wonderful. Okay. All right. Right on, man. Hey, Ryan's talking about life being good. Yes, but you have to acknowledge that at some point it's going to end. And the quality of life that you enjoy, perhaps maybe early on in your life, is not to be expected later on in life. You're going to need that financial security to adhere to. So when people are deliberating, I don't know if I should invest or not. I think I could probably, the stock market is too risky. I'm here to tell you that I think you're effing nuts for not investing, because I think what you're going to be up against later on in life is an absolute certainty that you would have needed to take some steps to become financially savvy for what is anticipated later on in life. I just think it's an utter certainty. I think it's an absolute necessity. And this is why I'm insistent on doing this project every week. And it's hopefully why, my couple on the couch right now is insistent on coming and trying to catch a little bit of tutelage from me, because I've got this stuff figured out. I do. I exercise and I do these. These are like ingrained in me. These are what I do. I'm sharing them with you now. And if it's too big of a disconnect and you think that these are too big of a thing to do and they can't be deployed by others, please tell me, hey, you're wrong, Ryan. People can't set goals. People can't make a plan. You know, life is about how lucky you can get. No kidding. Why is it that people actually who make millions, the massive amounts of people who are making millions, are those people who are just day to day workers? You would never know that they were millionaires. You would never know. And the people who are out driving the fancy cars, a statistic I love to throw out there is 80% of people who drive Mercedes and BMWs, the very, very popular Audis, they all lease. 80%. That blew my mind. That was a staggering statistic to me. I was like, wow, these people, it's a status symbol. They must have all this money to go. No, they're renting the car. Lease is synonymous with rent. Sorry to burst your bubble, but I think it's one of the biggest waste of monies that you can have. And some people out there, I don't mean to offend you if you're leasing a car, I think it's a waste. It's just my thing. There might be certain circumstances from the employer, yada yada. I'm not here to judge, okay? But I think it's a waste of money. But setting goals, making a plan, and sticking to the plan. If you can invest in the S&P 500 for 20, 30 years, as a young person, contribute, make that plan. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more later on. The better off you're going to be. But you have to make sure that you're making a decision to do or not to do, but not be somewhere in the middle, wishy-washy. Recession in 2023. Ryan, I got to sell everything. I'm out of the market. I'm in the market. I'm guys doing this, and they told me on CNBC I should sell, and now I bought, and then yesterday I sold and bought, and then I'm going to buy tomorrow because I messed up today, and I'm going to get back in the market, and my husband's screaming at me because I got to do this and that and everything else, right? Choose to do or not to do. Okay. You make your life a whole lot easier. And if you choose to do, then you can define what that to do is and you can stick to it. full well knowing. And I'm just here to tell you, if you're confused about what the stock market can entail, it can either do one of two things: go up or go down. There you go. So don't be surprised when one of those two things happen, because they will inevitably happen. Okay? Not me, Ryan. It'll always go up for me because I'm a good person. No, it's going to go down for you too. All right? It doesn't discriminate. Okay? All right? Number three, probably one of the most important things that I talk about on the channel, and I'm really going to disappoint a lot of people by stating this. Any guess what it's going to be? Take a moment. It's one of my favorites. Get a job. This is, everybody's like unsubscribing. Shut it off. Shut it off. The independent investor channel is actually talking about going and earning a living. Yeah, what a novel idea. Isn't that something? It's made all the difference in my life. Yeah, 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 yeah. I just went in, what, yesterday, sometime this week, and I got to get a crown done because I got a hole in my tooth. And I went back and forth with the insurance, and they declined by pre-approval. I was like, you all are my insurance. You're going to approve it. But if I didn't have that benefit, one small benefit, I got to pay the 2,500 right out of my pocket. That's $2,500 that I keep. I retain. I'm the good guys. The good guys get to keep that money, right? Insurance, dental, health insurance, right? I try to keep myself really healthy. I don't like going to the doctor. My biggest goal is to actually avoid going to the doctor by not getting sick. It's kind of a running joke of mine. I'm in phenomenal shape. I'm a freaking warrior. It's all good, and I do that. But the bennies, right? The bennies are really good. It can help kind of buffer some of those unexpected expenditures, yada yada yada. However, having a job is a lot more than just becoming part of the rat race or selling out to the man. Uh, if you want to know the truth, I actually love my job. I love it. I loved when I commercial fished in Alaska. I love my current employment now. I absolutely love it. It's an absolute gift. It's an honor. I wake up every single morning, and you know it's a symbol of a good job when you look forward to going for the job. I'm looking forward to actually having off tomorrow because it's been busy. Um, but that reprieve and the way people talk about like the allure of running their own business, I look at it and I'm like, that doesn't sound attractive at all. I'm like, I like the security, man. I like everything that it gives me now. It gives me hope for the future. It gives me satisfaction, the camaraderie, everything that I have that comes with that is the reason why I do it. Now, the longer that I stick with it, the more I earn. So people who look at the entry level and they're like, I don't want to get a job. I tell you what, you know what? I'm just going to either be a bum or a millionaire. I'm going to shoot for the stars. And those people will continue to shoot for the stars their entire life. And they'll end up being like waking up one day and they'll be like, God dang, I'm 45 years old. I have no insurance. I have no savings. I have no job. I have nothing, and I'm still holding on to that pipe dream that at some point I'm going to be a millionaire, but it looks like I ended up becoming a bum. Get a job, okay? You want to go to college, get a job. You making over six figures, you should be a shoe in for a millionaire. You get no sympathy from me. I will help you just the same, okay? But don't think for a second that those people out there that have those 25, $35,000 a year jobs, I have patrons to the channel that do just that, and they may have more of a shot of making millionaire status from some of these people that I know make 100 and a half, and they're a complete disaster. They adhere to none of the rules that I've just talked about. None of them. None of them. Hmm. Yep. Did not take proper protection against taxes out there, and they're a complete mess with their spending. That's the biggest consumer I find is the inability to just adhere to a program and buy into the philosophy that um, money, the way I utilize it, is very, very, it's not understood, very commonplace amongst people. People look at money as an avenue to spend. Me, I look at it as an avenue to save. I spend 2,500. Well, I spent $1,600 today on a block of stock. Now that makes sense to me. Okay, but the majority of the activity that I did this week, I'm down to a quarter tank in my truck. I do need to pull into the gas station and get some fuel. That's on the horizon. We're probably getting around the corner to actually get into some groceries. My little fella got sick yesterday. We had to buy some Tylenol. Reality, huh? Yeah, sound familiar? Sure it does. I'm about as real as this real can get. Number four. Number four is super important. And without the independent investor channel, you would never know that there's somebody out there with the approach, and some might consider the abrasiveness, or the raw approach, or the scoff at social media, and maybe, I don't know, it doesn't provide all of the benefit that people think that it does. You have to establish perspective. I can tell you the great separator from me, is the fact that I have marched toward a goal of wealth building my entire life. The decisions are influenced by it. Our spending habits are influenced by it. Our pursuance of careers is influenced by it. I've even rubbed off on my wife in that regard, in that she didn't have that, that idea of importance of personal finance, savings, etc., whatever it might be, and she on me as well, right? So it's a good thing, but without the proper perspective, in other words, a desire to do, an idea of just sitting back and saying, man, Ryan's really passionate about this. When was the last time we actually thought about where we were going to be in retirement? And even deeper, what is it that we need to do to maybe even get there, or get to 50% of that goal? Or let's just set out on this goal and we'll end up where we are. Maybe we accumulate 125,000, $250,000 toward that goal. And hey, we're good for it, man. Because if it wasn't for Ryan kind of pointing out that you need to put yourself on a plan and have the perspective to get there, right? We would have just continued to live in oblivion. Look at my Christmas decorations, right? You gotta have proper perspective as you approach those ends. All right. So that's number four, establish perspective. You have to want to do it. If your perspective is that you're going to win the lottery to become a millionaire, it won't happen for you. If you think that somehow life owes you, because life has coddled you up to the point of being turned out as an adult, you're going to get your ass kicked, and you're going to have a rude awakening that if you become complacent on life, you're going to find really, really quick that complacency sets you back, and it's going to set you back a long time. Now, you can drop that complacency and you can catch up, but you're not going to be able to do it right away, because you're going to find, if you're on the front end of the wave of life, that organization is necessary. Dealing with unexpected expenditures is going to be necessary. The ability to remain dynamic and deal with injects as they happen. Boom, boom. I'm always ready. I'm always ready. Yep. What's going to happen? What's going to break down with the car? What speeding ticket are we going to get this week in New York? Right. There's always something, baby. Always some sort of expenditure to happen, some sort of trip, or some sort of tooth that's fallen out of my head that needs to be dealt with. I'm ready to go. If I was complacent on life, I'd be like, oh, yeah, and this over here, and oh, and again, and oh, and woe is me. And you just get steamrolled over, and you just give up, man. Because life will do that. But I think there's a lot of people that try to actually deploy that as a strategy in life. And good luck if you can make it work. I can't. I make it work for me by remaining sharp, aggressive. You might think it's crazy that I come on and do this every Friday. I think it's one of the most sane things that somebody could do to help people. No doubt about it. It's one of the most sane things that I could do in an insane world. Not to use my favorite, quote from Terminator 2, you know. But people are insane. They need to hear this stuff. It's just that simple. Number 5 on the list. All right. Got about 5, 6 minutes left in the live stream tonight. I'll go a little bit over time because I do want to get to some of these comments. So if you have questions for me, leave it. I will go an additional 15 minutes tonight just as a special treat and just because I like doing this project. Truly. I truly love it. Leave the questions in the comments and I'll scroll down and I'll get it. JJ saying buy more nickel. I'm not going to buy more nickel. Leave me alone, you fruit. God dang. Number 5. If you're going to march along the road to success, I've posed the rhetorical question to people out there to do or to not to do when it comes to investing. And you can do it in a lot of capacities. Most do it in 401k because they just adhere to this idea that they're stupid and they don't know what they need to know about investing, and they buy into all these cliches that talk them out of potentially investing in Procter and Gamble, Johnson and Johnson, Home Depot, Merck, Pfizer, some of these phenomenal companies, many more out there. Okay, but they are, and I give them credit for adhering to number 5, and it's the most important. It's the very cornerstone of the independent investor channel, and that is to invest. Okay. Now, investing and the definition of investing in through my channel is tax protection through the Roth IRA, very important, and more importantly, wealth preservation. And the wealth preservation is such to suggest that if you can invest passively in the S&P 500 over the course of your life, you're not going to incur fees over those dollars over that same time period. Okay. So, super important to adhere to those disciplines. So, tax protection and wealth preservation, i.e., the elimination or drastic lowering of fees over your portfolio, but the acceptance of what style of investing you want to be. I had one of the patrons reach out and they were like, thanks for the dividend growth portfolio. No problem. I'm happy to share that. It's one of many strategies that I deploy, passive investing being the most dominant of those. I just looked at my thrift savings plan this week and I'm actually up year over year. Go figure. In a year that's been so horrible and so volatile and so up and down, by just holding true on my dollar cost average every 2 weeks, I'm actually up a few percent this year, where I presume that there's a lot of people deploying other strategies, even passive in some capacities, and are actually severely down still in their portfolios. I'm actually up in the thrift savings plan. Go figure. And then to initiate a dividend reinvestment plan and the dollar cost averaging over that. So to invest, if you can couple the aforementioned 5 things that I talked about, um, we hate to use the word guarantee in stock market investing, but I find it all too often ironic how people out there adhere to planned failure, planned failure, spending too much in direct conflict with item number 1. Number 2, not making a plan or setting a plan in motion that adheres with the status quo or what it is socially acceptable behavior. The plan exists insofar as I'm going to get over my head in a mortgage and I'm going to buy the nicest car that I can afford, or maybe dare I say, I can't afford, but I'm going to buy it anyway. And Hubert, go paint the fence white. That's my plan. That's my plan to financial security. Okay. They get caught up in the pipe dream. So my charge to actually get a job falls on deaf ears. And I say it tongue in cheek, it's no problem. I'm super happy. If I lost my job, I would not be happy. It would be devastating to me. Just because I love it so much, and I feel like sometimes when I offer those comments that I'm somehow combating this idea nowadays in 2022 that you just need to throw all fate to the wind, and you need to take every chance that you can get to somehow shoot for the stars. People who make it and they're not prepared to enter into wealth will lose it anyway. So why not just set yourself on a disciplined program? At least you can look back on a disciplined program and say, you know what, I did it smartly. I didn't succumb to temptation. I didn't fall into every single, thing that comes our way, this and that, one way or another. And I'm proud of the fact that I did it. Maybe I don't make millionaire status, but I can look back over a career and be proud of the work, the body of work that I put in. And there is some truth to merit and meeting. There really is. Okay. And for those people that don't have established perspective or don't take the time to challenge what it is they think they know, this whole idea of being privileged and expecting that that privilege is going to actually get them somewhere, and then finally the inability to adhere to an investing program. So those are the five things, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. These are things that I absolutely do. I would consider myself an expert of these things because they're mine. They're things that I look at and I would say, boy, if I didn't have any one of these things, it would absolutely affect my bottom line, and I would not be able to come on and share my story with you guys as a success story, man. So got Dave in the house here. Great stuff, man. Leave your comments at the bottom, guys. I'm gonna rip through these as quickly as I can. If I can cherry pick a good comment here, I absolutely will. But got some really cool folks in here. Get Cassius in the house. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien. Great to see you. Thanks for coming in, man. I really appreciate it. Very cool. Hubert's in the house. I spend too much at Costco. Yeah, it's easy to do that. I buy honey and meat. There's a couple other things. I buy the big obnoxious bag of almonds. I buy the bulk 2 pound bag of raisins, and I put that stuff on my salad every single day when I go to work. Got some comments at work on my salad. I'm proud of it. I make up the same guy. It's very cool. Very cool. Chuck says, "What up, guy?" I'm good, man. That's awesome. Thanks for stopping by. Jared's in the house just to say hi. Says, "I love Hylion." I do too. I'm going to love it even more when it goes up. It's going to be fun to watch. Be a fun project. We'll go ahead and log as much as we need. I've put that on a plan as well. It's only through the grace and the perspective that I've actually deployed that I have um, the ability to enter into a position like Hylion and actually have the ability and perspective to see it through. Yeah, it'll never go up, Ryan. Okay, it'll never go up. Sounds good. Sounds great. Thanks for helping me. I really appreciate that. Very cool. Chilling next to the Wi-Fi would fantastic. Good stuff, man. Yeah, enjoy that, man, and it's great. I really appreciate it. I hope you don't mind me highlighting your comment, and it's really cool that you guys can kind of take that, share it, learn it. I really love M1 Finance. It's a lot of fun. I don't really see myself actually doing away with those portfolios or dissolving them just because I like the platform. It's really cool. I can put a few $100 in there every now and then, and M1 Finance does the rest. It's just a cool deal, and I love sharing it with people. It was shared with me, and I love passing that on to others as well. That one guy, 1235. He says, "Good evening. It is a fine evening. Thank you. It's good to see you, man. Very cool stuff." I don't know what that means. Very cool. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Very cool. He says it's a beautiful tool. Love the growth I've been getting. Yeah, it's just cool because they do a lot of the work for you, a lot of the guesswork. You can just throw money at it, and it does well for you. Very cool stuff. Stoked to hear you've reached the milestone. 150% have earned it. Um, well, the $500,000 milestone I've reached multiple times. And it just speaks to an interesting perspective for you guys that are still in here listening to me. Um, it was humbling. it's like, you reach a half a million and then boom, all of a sudden, the COVID hits and this volatile market and the bull market kind of comes to a little bit of an end and a standstill and all the pundits shift and it's like we're entering into a recession, all that stuff. So it takes a little bit of humble pie to, dip back below that 500,000 again. But I've built that back up now. And there's been some initiatives that I've drilled down on and I've made happen. But I appreciate that, man. But don't think that it's somehow linear. Don't think that somehow just because you reach 10,000 that it can't go back below 10,000, which I think is a critical milestone for a lot of people. I think there'd be a lot of people out there who are like, Ryan says it's super important to reach 10,000, which I do believe, but then they'll reach that 10,000 and then they'll go down below 10,000. They'll be like, to hell with it. I'm out of here. Throw in the towel. They sell everything. I hate investing. It sucks. And they fail to realize they would have never made it up to 10,000 had it not been for the perspective, a discipline, setting goals, making plan, living frugal, having a job. Hey, sound familiar? Yeah. Yeah, there's a method to my madness, man. It's pretty crazy. Shaded Light gets the award tonight for the most comments, man. He's just having like a discussion here, man. It's like war and peace in my comments section, man. Jeez Louise, he's loving it, man. It's good. He gets some entertainment out of the I2 live stream. I quit my job after 34 years. Now I just eat cereal. Sure. Yeah, I'd like to walk away, when I have those marbles. It's all good. You got to put in that time anyway. He's sharing what he likes. That's cool stuff, man. So I'm almost to the bottom here. Yeah, I don't know. Nicholas always had me head scratching. I'm not really sure. Everybody's losing their shorts on the Tesla truck heard around the world, and is Hyliion going to be okay? Tesla's talking about 500 miles. Tesla can talk about all they want. Dare I suggest that you look into the reality of what they can actually get? hmm hmm Oh, Ryan, Elon Musk would never lie to us. No, he'd never lie. Just like the rating on your Tesla is 380, and you don't get 380, you get 200. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry to burst your bubble. It's the Kevin's in the house. Love building the top 100. Sure. That's a fun way to invest. I like it. It's cool. It's cool. Don't have too many eggs in one basket. It's kind of cool if you have a problem with one and they all go through swoons. Sometimes they're up, sometimes they're down, but over time, those really good gems of the stock market typically end up paying off in the discipline. Ryan, did you get a chance to check out the ERX dropping? Yeah, had I known about it, I would have went down there and filmed it. I was, a little disappointed. I was frustrated with the solicitation, the questions. I'm tired of asking questions and not getting them asked. So when I'm asked to offer questions that I know are not going to get brought up, my answer is no. Some people thought I was being rude. That's totally fine. I do enough for Hyliion. Rest assured, I do enough for them. I'm good. I'm totally good. It's an open door policy. If they want the interview, they can have it. If not, no big deal. I'm good. I make $1,000 per interview on the channel anyway. I'm fine. Why would I need to beg to have somebody come onto my channel for freaking free? Forget it. I'm good to go. I'm good to go. We'll wrap it down, guys. Very cool stuff. Really appreciate you making your way in here for the Friday live stream. Want you guys to have a great weekend. We'll be back next Friday on the Independent Investor Channel, fastest 60 minutes on YouTube. Be well. We'll catch you next week.